on GS Bawa to say a few words to this wonderful, respected guest. Mr. Bawa, if you can come over and say a few words.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. When you say a few words, right, and we are talking on Viksit Bharat, I don't know audience will accept you to give me a few words for making India Viksit Bharat. We have spent 100 years and we couldn't do anything. And that is the problem, that we always get few minutes to explain such important tasks. So how much time at my disposal, please tell me. Accordingly, I will plan my talk. Right? So tell me, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, how much? 15 minutes, okay. Because one of the requirements of Viksit Bharat is, we are not following any timeline. हो गया तो बहुत अच्छा है, नहीं हुआ तो शायद उससे भी अच्छा है, and we will find praises for everything, good or bad. Clapping has become a routine. We should have some enemies and we should have many friends. It is said that if a man doesn't have any enemy, it means he is saying yes to everything. So that's, pardon me, we must have a timeline, we work on timeline, only then Viksit Bharat will become, right? I don't believe in presentation, but if you want, there are 5-10 slides, but I will speak independent of that will be better. Now my title which I have given to my 10-15 minute talk is Charting India's Path to Viksit Bharat. As I mentioned, we must have a path and we must have a known length of that path and we must know कि हमारी कितनी स्पीड है, किस स्पीड से चलेंगे और कब वहाँ पर पहुँचेंगे. हमें यहाँ से अम्बाला जाना है या अमृतसर जाना है, तो पहले तो यही देखते हैं ना गूगल मैप के ऊपर कितना डिस्टेंस है और मेरी स्पीड कितनी है. पहले मैं 80 पर चला रहा था, अब एज हो गई तो 80 पर चला नहीं सकता, 50-60 पर चलानी पड़ेगी, तो कितनी देर में पहुँचेंगे. तो वी मस्ट चार्ट ए पाथ एंड वी नो आवर प्लस एंड माइनस and we should work on that. So hello to everyone and welcome to our discussion on charting India's path to Viksit Bharat. Today we will explore insight of the Indian economy through the length of economic survey 2025 and the national input cost reduction strategy. Because if you know that you are having some temperature, how you will know that you are having some temperature? You need a thermometer. So if you do not have any barometer, ऐसे ही काम चलाते रहेंगे, हो गया तो भी ठीक है, नहीं ठीक. So we must have a barometer. I personally feel the barometer of growth and economic development is economic survey, and fortunately we are doing it every year. Once upon a time it used to be purchased and Connaught Place में सेंट्रल न्यूज एजेंसी होती थी, तो सुबह वहाँ पर लाइन ऐसे लग जाती थी उसको खरीदने के लिए जैसे कोई प्रसाद के लिए माता के दरबार में लाइनें लगती हैं. आज की डेट के अंदर वो फ्री मिल रहा है और ऑनलाइन मिल रहा है. मेरे को लगता नहीं कोई पढ़ भी रहा है कि नहीं पढ़ रहा. फ्री हैज गॉट नो वैल्यू. तो दैट्स बट मैं शुरू से जब से मैंने इकोनॉमिक्स को अडॉप्ट करा है, तो मेरे फादर बोलते थे कि सर्वे देखे सवेरे उठते ही. मैं कह नहीं. सो देन पहली बात है कि वहाँ पर जाओ, इकोनॉमिक सर्वे खरीद के लाओ अपने पैसों से, एंड देन दैट इज देखते हैं, तो दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड सेकेंड इज द नेशनल इनपुट कॉस्ट रिडक्शन स्ट्रेटजी विच बोथ मेक ए मैरी गो राउंड. नो दीज डॉक्यूमेंट्स ऑफर ए रोड मैप ऑफ इंडियाज इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ amidst global challenges, and we will unpack their key takeaways for business and policy makers. You mentioned about the policies. Policies are very important. And Viksit Bharat 2007 is India's vision to become a fully developed. Your use of peace, one P is prosperity. We fully developed, prosperous and sustainable nation by 100th anniversary of independence. It aims transformation of India to become a $30 trillion economy by 2007 through a holistic approach covering infrastructure and digital technology, social empowerment and sustainability. Before I move forward, this $30 trillion economy, we should not get bogged down by this number, because the numbers in today's world has got no meaning. The price of gold is multiplying in hundreds and thousands every day. So this is all relative. So don't get bogged down by the numbers. You must see around what was I 20 years back, what were my neighbors 20 years back, or my friends 20 years back, and what they have become today. Have they progressed? Only then the country has progressed. Not in isolation, but in a collective manner. So these numbers, I am a statistician by profession also. Welcome, sir. And I know how to lie with statistics. So these are all tricks of the trade that we play with the statistics. The strategy echoed or anchored by 4 pillars without which the Viksit Bharat cannot take place. One is youth. Second is the poor. अगर उस पर नजर नहीं गई तो विकसित भारत किसने करना है? Women. If we are not strengthening the women, what are we working? And then often forgotten the farmers. So aim is to boost manufacturing and global competitiveness. हम बना रहे कुछ भी रहे हैं, पर अगर हम किसी से compete नहीं कर पा रहे, progress नहीं कर रहे, तो ऐसी growth का कोई फायदा नहीं. Now, coming to the economic context, key stat we always count 7.4% GDP growth projected for the financial year 2006, and headlines are always there. India's economy is projected to grow at 7.4% amidst global turbulence, because world over दुनिया crisis में है, पर India fortunately is a continent itself. हमें to a great extent कोई फर्क पड़ता नहीं है, कोई हमारे से ट्रेड करे ना करे, वी आर नॉट बॉदर्ड. और ये ऐसे ही नहीं हम कह रहे हैं, हम अपने घर में अपने मोहल्ले में भी ऐसे ही जीते हैं. हेल्प विद यू, आई एम ओके. ना मुझे पड़ोस की फिक्र है, ना किसी की फिक्र है, ना रिश्तेदारों की है. हम सेल्फ सस्टेनेबल हैं. या दूसरी को हम अपनी प्राइड समझते हैं, बट नाउ द वर्ल्ड हैज टू लिव विद ग्लोबल कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस. वी मस्ट एक्नॉलेज the headwinds and geopolitical tensions, rather the opportunities, trade deficits, and the evolving global economic landscape. Now let's set the context of my talk towards navigating these challenges and emerging stronger and stronger out of that. India's economic Viksit Bharat developed as we have decided that we should be developed by 2047, is defined by a strategic transition towards becoming, as I mentioned, they have given a figure 30 trillion economy, कभी 30 हो जाती है, 25 हो जाती है, 35 हो गई है, और आज की डेट में शायद 50 हो गई अगर गोल्ड के रेट पर उसको कंपेयर करेंगे. So I told it has got no meaning. Requiring sustainable growth, annual growth at the rate of 8% चाहिए. 7.4% हम ले रहे हैं, सब सर्वे बोल रहे हैं, तो हमारी कैलकुलेशन है. But then at least we are claiming that we will be reaching there in time. The roadmap involves transforming India from a developing to a developed nation by 2047. As I mentioned, we must be focusing on, other than the 4 category of individuals, industrialization. Unless last time I mentioned how the production is very important, and that will come only through the industrialization. There is another factor also, we will come on that. And then digital transformation. आज की डेट में सब कुछ पहले स्क्रीन पर होता है, बाद में ग्राउंड पर होता है. So that day I was speaking to someone in abroad, यार ये चश्मा बहुत बढ़िया है, तो मेरे को चाहिए. जिस बात है ये खाली स्क्रीन पर ही है, ये बाजार में बिकता नहीं है. So there are certain products, there are certain works which are very good on the screen. You will never see them on the ground. That's the importance of digitization, right? and sustainable development. We must have a sustainable so that we can sustain and revive ourselves. But some key economic enablers for that is financial reforms, labor and skill development, and sustainability. And this all environment sustainability, we have target that we will be becoming net zero by 2070. I being from aviation, it's more challenging for us because we are the highest polluters. Next, Viksit Bharat and skilling. As I mentioned, skilling is very important. And demographic dividend is such that India is blessed with Yuva Shakti. We are blessed that we have a Yuva Shakti, and for that we must have a plan of Samarth Bharat 2.0. Vocational focus is there. It should be more stronger. I remember हमारे टाइम में जब कोई आदमी बोल रहा था कि मेरे को वोकेशनल स्टडी करनी है तो उसको ये माना जाता था कि ये कोई फेलियर है, थर्ड क्लास है, तो वो अब नहीं। आईआईटी और आईटीआई में लोगों को डिफरेंस नहीं पता लगता, खाली ग्लैमर का डिफरेंस होता था। तो थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग। आज की डेट में प्लम्बर, इलेक्ट्रिशियंस आर मोर इन डिमांड देन इंजीनियर्स एंड हाई टेक एंड डॉक्टर्स। There are no people going to the medical institute for registration, but they are looking for ये प्लम्बिंग कहाँ से खाते हैं। 200 घंटे पर कनेक्शन की रिपेयर चार्जेस वो ले रहा है, इंजीनियर को नहीं मिलते पूरा दिन लगाने के बाद, right? So that's why we should equip our people with the skills. I mentioned ITIs and digital modernization is there. So Viksit Bharat's success hinges on transforming India's workforce. The economic survey, as I mentioned, emphasizes vocational education and outcome-based financing to boost employability. Basic that you should have employability. पहले भी यही बोलते थे, वैसे तो उस टाइम जरूरत थी। जब कोई माँ बाप बच्चे की एडमिशन कराते थे तो यही पूछते थे कि सारी उसकी नौकरी कहाँ लग जाएगी, कितना पैसा मिल जाएगा, तो वो मिल भी जाता था। अब धीरे धीरे डिसक्रेडिबिलिटी हो गई, हमने ही उसको डिसक्रेडिट करा। उसके कई कारण हैं। प्रोफेशनलिज्म को हमने प्रेफरेंस नहीं दी है, हमने शायद कुछ और फैक्टरों को प्रेफरेंस दी है, उससे वो डिटेरियोरेशन हो गई है, उसको मैं यहाँ बात नहीं करना चाहता। Viksit Bharat and skilling aim to transform India into the developed nation by 2007. Again and again we are repeating, because you must remember 2047 is the ballpark date by which we must do it. वो कैसे करेंगे वो हम देखेंगे अभी। Now we must empower our youth, Yuva Shakti, as I mentioned, through skill development, entrepreneurship and innovation. Mentioned, sir ने innovation का नाम लिया। Innovation is one thing which no one is doing. हम बोलते हैं कि फलाना चाइना ने प्रोडक्ट बनाया बहुत अच्छा है, 5 पीस खरीद के उसको खोल के उसकी कॉपी पेस्ट करके उसको बनाने में लग जाते हैं। अपना बनाने का शायद श्रेय नहीं है हमारे को, या कोई उसकी इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं समझते। और दूसरी बात ये सोचते हैं कि ये जो इनोवेशन है ये शायद गवर्नमेंट का ही काम है, प्राइवेट का नहीं है। प्राइवेट का काम खाली पैसा कमाना है, और वही आदत फिर आगे बच्चों में पड़ती है, राइट? तो इफ यू कैन हैव ए वर्कशॉप एट योर होम, 80 to 90% लोगों ने कभी पेचकस, प्लास, तोता प्लास, इनमें डिफरेंस ही नहीं पता, right? So you must know the tools, you must know how to use the tools, and DIY projects should be cause of innovation and development. I remember 1970s में one of my cousins were in USA, तो मैंने उसको एक किताब बोली लाने के लिए, तो वो क्योंकि इंडिया में तो मिलती ही नहीं थी DIY प्रोजेक्ट्स, वहाँ मिलते थे, और वहाँ पर ऐसे थे जैसे कबाड़ी में मिलते हैं, बिकॉज एवरी ईयर दे ब्रिंग ए न्यू वर्जन, एंड पुराने फिर वहाँ मिल जाते थे, धीरे धीरे यहाँ भी मिलने लगे। देन इसे कि तन्नुए की करनी है, भाई यू आर आस्किंग फॉर इट, आई से यू गेट सम आइडियाज टू डू इट। इसलिए कि हमारे यहाँ तो चलो ठीक है, बिकॉज लेबर बड़ी महंगी है, पर इंडिया में तुमने क्या करना है, अब आदमी मिल जाते हैं काम करने के लिए। सो दैट इज द रीजन वी हैव नेवर बिकम ए फैंसी ऑफ DIY. DIY is the foundation of growth and development. Now government is doing a lot. Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship (MSDE) initiatives like Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, They are very crucial. They are bringing results. Creating a phygital ecosystem for training, ensuring future-ready workforce capable of driving economic growth. These are some issues. Few bullet points which might leave at this slide. Key initiatives of partnership are future right skill network. We must know which is the right skill needed, and we should have a network for that. राष्ट्रीय युवा सशक्तिकरण कार्यक्रम, youth should become part of that. And Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, this is another program. Government have one better than another scheme, but only thing we need to motivate our youth to join there. Digital and physical integration, phygital which I mentioned. इंडिया में एक चीज़ बहुत अच्छी है कि भीड़ लगने में और लाइन लगने में कोई टाइम नहीं लगता. लाइन में खड़े होने के बाद लोग पूछते हैं कि ये लाइन किस चीज़ की है. फिर आधे रास्ते में जाके सोचते हैं कि मेरे को रुकना है या वापस जाना है. Example of that is over 1.65 crore youth have registered on the Bharat portal. I hope they all know what for they were registered, which support the youth-led development in areas like community service, environmental sustainability, and voter awareness. Very important. Indian economy core insight: shift from production to sport protection. The survey highlights a crucial shift focus on supporting production, not just production itself. This changes how we approach economic growth. It's about creating ecosystem that enables businesses thrive, innovative and export oriented. Let's explore what this means to Indian economic strategy. We shall be moving towards a network of ecosystem where the businesses, production houses, supply centers, all should be networked. The core insight into the modern Indian economy is a structural technology-driven shift from being a predominantly manual production-focused economy to one centered on the support of production. This transformation means that while the physical Make in India initiative strengthens manufacturing capacity, the actual value addition, growth, and employment are being increasingly driven by services that support this production, such as R&D design, software, logistics, and supply chain management. As I mentioned, I am from the aviation. I think we have been shouting from the rooftop that India should have its own aircraft of a limited capacity size which can meet the requirements of our country domestic traffic. Now, the government has taken a decision that we will be doing a tie-up for manufacturing our own aircraft, 100 plus passenger size. That proves that government is listening. There is someone who is acting. So we must raise our voice. We must let the people know कि क्या करना है, क्या अच्छा है, क्या नहीं है. कि लोग ये बोलते थे कोई सुनता नहीं है, सुनता है, but time लगता है, देर आए दुरुस्त है, right? Input cost reduction strategy shall make input cheaper for business. आधा टाइम तो बिजनेसमैन इसी चीज़ में रहते हैं कि टेक्नोलॉजी पुरानी है, टेक्नोलॉजी को ठीक कर लिया, रॉ मटेरियल महंगा है, जिससे हमने कम्पीट करना है. वो पहले ही टैक्स लगा के हमारे को रॉ मटेरियल ही भेजता है, तो हम क्या कम्पीट करेंगे. तो दैट स्ट्रेटजी कुछ उसकी भी अवेयरनेस आ गई है. बट देन टारगेट एरिया इज raw material already mentioned. Then energy. Focusing on renewable energy is one of the concepts which were accepted. And logistics. Operationalizing national waterways is another concept which has been accepted. So input cost reduction strategies focus on lowering the excess expenses associated with purchasing raw material, as I mentioned, energy, labor, and services without compromising product quality. Effective strategies in 2026 include adopting closed procurement cycle to improve visibility using AI-driven spend analysis. That kind of software modeling is needed to identify overspending and plugging the wasteful expenses. Implementing just in time. Just in time is not old. Rather, we have never adopted that as a profession. It is now need of the hour, and it can be achieved now only because we have tasted the importance of IT now. You have seen delivery by 10 minutes, what kind of a ripple effect it has created. It is nothing but just in time. Because now we can do it, technology is there. So that should be at the industrial level also now we should do it. Here are few key strategies for making input cheaper for business based because businesses want to know how we can make things cheaper. Strategic procurement and vendor negotiation, we should undertake that. Consolidate suppliers, we should identify it and bring them home. We should use purchasing organization. It should be dedicated organization who should do purchasing only. I remember one of my bosses, when he retired he was at the top level. I'm not from the automobile industry, but he headed the aviation organization. When he retired, his skill was that he can pool the suppliers and purchasers. And then he did nothing. Simply pooled कि तुम्हें क्या चाहिए, किसके पास क्या है, and he was able to do lot of value for money for both purchasers and sellers. So that is what is now possible. As a common man, you can make any apps and you can start acting on that. Another is supply chain and inventory optimization, which I mentioned, which could be just in time, recognizing sourcing, optimizing shipping, and forward buying. Another is operational and process efficiency. This is very important, and this can be adopted through lead manufacturing, automation, preventive maintenance, and energy efficiency upgrades. Keeping the paucity of time, I am not expanding, but then if you want, there are different strategies for that. One can Google and find it also. Alternative sources for material substitution. Substitution is very important. You must know you are not using some material which is waste for that activity which you are doing. You should not unnecessarily using over expensive materials. So material substitution is very important. Recycling and reuse, we have adopted that, we have started using that, but more aggressiveness is needed. Open source software shall be available. We should not have any secrecy, and with that people can modify it for their specific use and they can use improve efficiency for their own self. Leveraging technology and visibility, spend management platform, and then the digital transformation through टाइम हो गया 2 मिनट खत्म कर दें. आप बता दिए तो अच्छा रहता है. वन कंक्लूड the budget 2.0 impact. I say we must watch with open eyes. Basic custom duties have been lowered in many cases. We should not see it as a story. We should start analyzing कि उसमें क्या हमारे मतलब का है, and we should make use of it. Exemptions for specific sectors have been made. I know aviation. I just mentioned the example that the government has made a special dispensation for lowering or no taxes. So if the component belong to manufacturing of aircraft in the country, so that's kind of, and then there are special dispensation for electronic industry, electric vehicles, and pharmaceuticals. So that will make the cost lower in true manner. Total cost of ownership, we must keep a watch on that in terms of quality, reliability, and logistics. But note, and warning is, 43% of cost cutting attempts fail because they are too aggressive and they lack a well-defined plan. So that warning should always be taken as a strategic approach, and which is very essential. Deregulation, etc., I will not cover. They are strategic. We have to. But you are right. So in conclusion, I must mention now, let's focus on institutionalizing competitiveness. कुछ भी नहीं करना. सबसे पहले हर इंडस्ट्री को जो भी आप काम कर रहे हैं उसमें कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस ले आइए, और दैट ओनली विल टीच यू कि कहाँ मैं ओवर स्पेंड कर रहा हूँ, कहाँ बचा सकता हूँ, कहाँ मेरी क्वालिटी इन्फीरियर है, कहाँ मैं क्वालिटी बेटर ला सकता हूँ. दैट एक्शन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, एंड वी शुड डू इट एट ग्लोबल लेवल. खाली अपने आप से करने से कुछ होगा नहीं. And let's embed these principles: supporting production, lowering cost, and strategic alignment to shape India's future. Together, we can make Viksit Bharat a reality driven by innovation, competitiveness, and inclusive growth. That's what I would like to close. And thank you very much for your time and patience. Right? Good. Thank you. That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bawa. Now, who I'm going to call upon, he is recognized among the top 30 influential young entrepreneur 2016 and honored as the most promising business leader in Asia 2021-22 by the Economic Times Group. Under his leadership, Quintus Global won the prestigious NASCOM SME Inspire Award in 2023 for growth leadership in business process management. Dr. Sri Rakesh Sinha, founder CEO Quintus Global Private Limited, I would like to call upon to say a few words to our respected guest, Mr. Rakesh Sinha, if you can come over and ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for Dr. Rakesh Sinha.